Let's be honest. At some point in our lives, we have all said this sentence: if I just hit that big jackpot, all my problems would end, and I would be happy forever. This belief is practically ingrained in our DNA. In our minds, we assume there is a direct link between the zeros in our bank accounts and our happiness levels. A bigger house, a more luxurious car, a higher salary. Society constantly gives us the same message: if you have more, you will feel better. But what if I told you that this is one of the biggest tricks your brain plays on you? What if I told you that just a few months after getting that promotion you wanted so badly, or parking your dream car in the garage, you would feel exactly as happy or unhappy as you do right now? This isn't pessimism, it's science. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most brutal yet enlightening truths of human psychology: why money cannot buy lasting happiness. Our topic: hedonic adaptation. Hedonic adaptation is the tendency of humans to quickly return to their baseline level of happiness after major positive or negative life events. The best way to explain this is through the hedonic treadmill metaphor. Think of a treadmill at the gym. You increase your speed to reach a goal, you exert more effort, but no matter how fast you run, you are essentially still in the same place. The process of wanting more in our lives is exactly like this. Think about the day you got a 30% raise. For the first month, you feel on top of the world. You experience a fantastic dopamine rush. But what about 3 months later? That raise has now become your new normal. Your expenses have increased proportionately. Luxuries have become standard. Your brain has adapted to the new situation, and your happiness level has returned to its old state. What do you need to feel that peak again? The next raise. That is the moment you are on the treadmill. This isn't just a theory. A landmark study conducted in 1978, one of the most striking in the history of psychology, proved this. Researchers examined two extreme groups: major lottery winners and victims of terrible accidents who were left paralyzed. Logically, you would expect the lottery winners to be forever happy and the others to be depressed, right? The results were shocking. About a year after the events, the daily happiness levels of the lottery winners were not significantly different from that of an average person on the street. After the initial peak, they adapted quickly. In fact, their expectations had risen so high that they couldn't enjoy ordinary pleasures as much as they used to. Even more interesting was the accident group. After the major trauma, they too adapted to their new situation, and their happiness levels were not as low as the expected chasm. This study shows this: human beings are incredibly adaptable machines. We can get used to the most luxurious palace just as we can get used to the harshest conditions. So why doesn't our brain let us be constantly happy? The answer lies in evolution. Think about our ancestors in the Stone Age. If an ancestor sat in his cave satisfied forever after a great success, he would probably starve to death. Nature doesn't want us to sit around feeling constantly satisfied. It wants us to survive and reproduce. That's why our brains are programmed to keep pleasure derived from success short-lived. That feeling of dissatisfaction, that impulse of what's next, is the driving force that carried humanity from caves to skyscrapers. The problem is, in the modern world, we no longer need to hunt mammoths to survive, but our brains still run on the same software. That's why even while driving a $100,000 car, we can still feel a sense of lack. Don't misunderstand. I'm not saying money is completely irrelevant. That would be naive. Money has a massive impact on happiness up to a certain point. Up to what point? Up to the point where your basic needs are met, your anxiety about the future is reduced, and you feel secure. If you're thinking about how to pay the rent, money absolutely buys happiness, because in this case, money means the absence of stress and pain. However, studies show that once income exceeds this security level, the contribution of every extra dollar to happiness decreases dramatically. Money removes the root causes of unhappiness, but it cannot give you lasting joy. So how do we get out of this vicious cycle? There are scientific ways to slow down the hedonic treadmill. First, invest in experiences, not things. When you buy a new sofa, you quickly get used to it. But when you go on a trip or learn a new skill, these memories don't wear out. On the contrary, they gain value as you remember them. Experiences become part of our identity. Possessions just become dead weight. Second, gratitude and negative visualization. Occasionally, imagine that you do not have the things you currently have: your health, your job, your family. Thinking about losing them shakes up your brain that has adapted to them and allows you to understand their value again. Gratitude is the antidote to the desire for more. Third, spending on others. When money is spent on ourselves, adaptation works fast. However, when we spend it to help others, our social bonding and meaning centers in our brains are activated. This is a much more lasting happiness than buying a new pair of shoes. So, while growing your wallet, don't forget to grow your perspective as well. Because at the end of the day, the richest person is not the one who has the most, but the one who needs the least.